Wayrynen, USA Today Sports. As free agent news around the NFL slowly speed up while front offices and free agents meet each other in Indianapolis during the scouting combine, the latest on Safety Earl Thomas has led many to believe he won't be in the Dallas Cowboys' price range. Although Dallas is in a complicated salary cap situation with so many young stars awaiting their respective contract extensions, assuming the Cowboys won't be in the mix to sign Earl Thomas is flat out wrong. The Cowboys have already met with Earl Thomas's agent, although said meeting is said to have been casual, as teams are still not allowed to enter official negotiations with free agents. However, Clarence Hill's report on Thomas wanting to become the highest-paid safety in the league has many ruling out the Cowboys as a potential landing spot for Thomas. Hearing Earl Thomas is looking for $15 million average salary, that might be too much for the Cowboys' liking. First of all, it's worth pointing out that a player naming a price doesn't guarantee he'll get paid what he wants by any team. But let's talk about what Thomas's unwillingness to give a hometown discount means for the Cowboys and their pursuit for the All-Pro safety. You see, I don't believe the story has changed that much due to these reports. Is it really a surprise that Thomas is looking for a top contract? Isn't that what all the drama was about when he was holding out last season? I'd be surprised if the Cowboys front office didn't expect that from Earl Thomas. There are a lot of things to do in the offseason, including signing DeMarcus Lawrence to a well-deserved big-time contract and getting Dak Prescott to a long-term deal. But that doesn't mean the Cowboys won't be able to make enough cap space to go after the guy they have been targeting since last year. There are a handful of players who could be released in order to free up a few millions. Sean Lee is a painful yet viable candidate to give the Cowboys considerable cap savings, as he would earn the team $7 million. Releasing Jeff Heath would give the team another $2.5 million. The Dallas Cowboys actually have options to work with, and if they want to pursue Earl Thomas, they should be able to. Bringing Thomas in would take the team's defense one step further and would drastically improve the secondary. With him playing next to Xavier Woods, whose success was apparent in 2018, the Cowboys would have themselves another dynamic duo on defense. The real challenge for the Cowboys will come if a bidding war breaks out between other NFL teams once March comes around. Thomas will surely attract a lot of attention, and for good reason. He's one of the best at his position in the NFL, if not the best. Right now, though, I don't believe Thomas is out of the Cowboys' range. There's a reason for their big interest on Thomas, and I'm convinced they knew as well as anybody that he was looking for a top contract. Don't expect them to back down in their pursuit just now. 2019 free agency Earl Thomas safety un año después de dejar el emparelado por la cabina de ESPN. Monday Night Football. Jason Witten anunció su regreso al equipo que lo seleccionó en el NFL Draft del 2003. Los Dallas Cowboys dieron la inesperada noticia el jueves de esta semana. Es un regreso de sentimientos encontrados, pues tiene tanto aspectos buenos como aspectos malos. Sin embargo, el regreso de una leyenda de la magnitud del futuro miembro del Salón de la Fama es difícil de aceptar sin las brazos abiertos. Witten se retiró tras una decepcionante temporada en 2017 cuando se le presentó la oportunidad de tomar el viejo trabajo de John Gruden como analista de color para ESPN. A diferencia de Tony Romo, Witten recibió muchas críticas por su desempeño en el área a lo largo del 2018. Durante la temporada pasada, Ben Rogers de 105.3 The Fan reportó que Jason Witten había estado muy cerca de hacer su regreso a la NFL a media temporada. Muchos lo descartaron rápidamente, pero hoy todos lo han aceptado y se ha dicho que efectivamente, el regreso del Win tendrá 37 años de edad cuando comienza la temporada y llega en un momento en el que los Dallas Cowboys tienen una clara necesidad por un tight end para la temporada 2019. Ahora la administración tiene una posición menos por la cual preocuparse cuando comienza la agencia libre y en su momento el NFL Draft. Es importante recordar que cuando Witten se fue, su desempeño no era el mejor de su carrera y que no había mucha velocidad de la cual hablar. Pero su regreso al equipo beneficiará mucho a la ofensiva de Dak Prescott y compañía. Es un jugador con manos extremadamente confiables y un excelente objetivo para Dak en terceras oportunidades. Y eso sin mencionar que su pura presencia en el locker room de muchísima importancia para este equipo. Sobre su regreso, Witten mencionó que estaba emocionado por llegar a un equipo con estrellas emergentes y que quería llevarlos al Super Bowl. Lo malo, lamentablemente, por más que la afición de los Cowboys y mi idolatra Jason Witten, es un movimiento con aspectos negativos también. El año pasado, los tight ends Blake Jarwin y Dalton Schultz mostraron un progreso a lo largo de la temporada. Regresar a Witten implica frenar un poco ese desarrollo para darle tiempo de juego a un veterano que podría estar en su último año de acción. A pesar de no haber tenido tanta predicción en la temporada, se anticipa que la ofensiva de Kellen Moore utiliza más a los tight ends que la de Scott Linehan. Algunos reportes no oficiales indican que Witten estuvo dispuesto a regresar por 25 llegadas por partido, pero ya veremos qué tan cierto es eso cuando comience la temporada en septiembre. Yo esperaría que efectivamente no viemos a un Jason Witten acaparándose del 100% de las llegadas ofensivas. Con un poco más de edad y prospectos jóvenes desarrollándose detrás de él, me parece que los Dallas Cowboys tendrán un comité de tight ends al comenzar la temporada. Lógicamente, Witten sería el titular pero a diferencia de años anteriores, veríamos al resto de los tight ends mucho más involucrados. Witten regresa con un contrato de un año por $3.5 millones que incluyendo bonos puede llegar a valer hasta 5. Es una noticia emocionante para los Dallas Cowboys y ver a Jason Witten con el uniforme una vez más es algo que no podemos esperar. Aquí en Inside the Star, los mantendremos actualizados con las noticias más recientes sobre su equipo favorito. As the Dallas Cowboys see running back as one of their team needs this offseason, an interesting candidate to back up Ezekiel Elliott will be available this free agency. It isn't something very unusual in the NFL to see certain promising players simply disappear for some reason, and that's precisely what happened to Carlos Williams, former Buffalo Bills running back. During his 2015 rookie season with the Bills, Williams ran for 517 yards and 93 carries, 5.6 yards per carry, and finished the year with 7 touchdowns, plus another 2 in the passing game. A fantasy football wonder for many fans out there, Williams' future in the league seemed to be a successful one. However, when 2016 came around, Carlos Williams wasn't in shape for the off-season program. Then came a series of suspensions by the NFL after having multiple substance abuse problems. In March 2017, Williams received his third suspension, which was lifted just a few days ago. The letter from the NFL stated he was humbled and committed to not squandering his second chance. Now Williams is set to hit free agency in March and will likely draw some interest after such an impressive rookie season back in 2015. Earlier in the week, Stephen Jones talked about needing a backup running back at some point of the NFL draft. Extending Ezekiel Elliott is currently among the Cowboys' priorities, but they need someone else to distribute the overwhelming workload Zeke's been receiving since entering the league if they want their superstar to last longer. Cowboys VP Stephen Jones was asked about Dallas' biggest draft needs. He mentioned never having enough defensive line help, safety, tight end, backup RB in the later rounds and cornerback. But added there wasn't a position they'd rule out. Carlos Williams should be an inexpensive backup given his history in the league. Despite serving a long suspension, he remains a 25-year-old running back who's already proven he can handle the job on Sundays. Williams isn't likely to pick up where he left off, and if he does get a chance by any team, it probably won't be a starting role. I know the Cowboys have suffered a bit lately with Randy Gregory's substance abuse policy violations. However, we can't ignore a talented player who will be available and could save the team some draft capital when they need to address many depth issues late in the NFL draft. Fullbacks are a dying breed in the NFL. The position has continued to be phased out around the league, with only a handful of teams still employing them. The Dallas Cowboys just so happen to be one of those teams who still value the position, but that could be changing with Jamize Olawale now a free agent. With Jamize Olawale set to hit the open market, the Dallas Cowboys have to ask themselves how much value they put in the FB position moving forward. That's not an easy question to answer. But, if we take a look at how much they've been utilized these past 3 years since the arrival of Ezekiel Elliott, the picture becomes a little clearer. Fullback offensive snap percentage since the arrival of Ezekiel Elliott: Jamize Olawale 201,810.59%, Keith Smith 201,712.02%, Keith Smith 201,612.76%. As you can see, the numbers speak for themselves. Even though the Dallas Cowboys continue to keep a fullback on their 53-man roster, they're not being utilized often enough to justify keeping one around any longer. Of course, this is only a part of the story though. First off, Ezekiel Elliott prefers to operate without a fullback. He likes to operate out of a single back set, which is one of the reasons why I believe we've seen the snap percentages from the fullbacks these last 3 years drop. But that's not all. You may be surprised to hear this, but I think the Cowboys' former offensive coordinator Scott Linehan deserves quite a bit of the blame for not utilizing the fullback more often on offense as well. This is especially true with Jamize Olawale. It was believed one of the main reasons the Cowboys decided to trade for Olawale last year was because of the versatility he would bring to the position. He was supposed to be yet another weapon on the offensive side of the ball, but we know now it didn't work out that way. Instead, he was pretty much just a special teams player. If it was me, I don't think I would waste a roster spot on a fullback in 2019. I think I would rather carry more depth at a different position, maybe an extra wide receiver or linebacker for instance. But ultimately I'm not the one who's going to make the decision. That could come down to the Cowboys' new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. No one really knows what to expect from Kellen Moore and the Dallas Cowboys offense this year. He could decide incorporating a fullback isn't in his plans, or vice versa. I think we can agree on one thing though. If they do deploy the FB in 2019, they need to play more in order to justify the roster spot they're taking up. Where do you stand? Do you think the Dallas Cowboys need a fullback in 2019?